Hi, and welcome back to Creative Live. I am your host today, Kate Dessa, and I am so excited to bring back Lisa Carney for another class on mobile photography. So, welcome, Lisa. I am so excited to talk about another new class from you. Welcome back to our live stream. How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good, honey. Thank you so much for having me back. It's
All
exciting.
right, so let's talk a little bit about this new class. It's all about live, or excuse me, I just have live in my head.
Yeah.
It's all about presets and profiles. So we're
Yeah.
talking about creating presets and profiles on your mobile phone to make your life a whole lot easier when you're out shooting. And so we want to know where you are out shooting. Tell us where you're tuning in from. Lisa, tell us where you are right now and tell us a little bit about what you're shooting in this day and age.
Awesome. So, well, in this day and age, it's all very special, isn't it? We're a little locked in. So, right now, I'm in Los Angeles and it's beautiful out, a bit windy. And I spend time between here and Truckee, California, which is up by Lake Tahoe.
All right.
And I am shooting outdoors a lot. I planted a whole garden just for photography, just for shooting, which
And
you will
I think
see in the
that's
class.
exactly that's what I was going to say. Well,
Yeah.
everybody else, we want to know where you guys are tuning in from and where you're going to leverage this new class when you go out and take your mobile photography, what you want to take photos of, and where you're taking photos. So leave us in the comments and tell us where you're tuning in from. And for everyone just getting acquainted with us, you guys are watching our live kickoff to Lisa Carney's brand new class, Lightroom Mobile, which is a class about presets and profiles for Lightroom Mobile. And it is going to kick off right after this live kickoff. And me and Lisa are just going to give you a little sneak peek of what you'll be watching and what you'll learn from this new class. So, Lisa, tell me a little bit about why you started this class and how it works with the series of classes you're making for us.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. So yeah, so here's the deal. I am all about shooting mobile right now, all about mobile. But I want to stress something. I think this is kind of people don't realize it. The Lightroom mobile ecosystem actually is Lightroom on a phone, an iPad. You can access it through the web and desktop. So even on this giant desktop, I will work on the shots that I've shot through mobile. And you don't have to just use your stuff you shot through mobile. You can actually upload the shots you've shot from your DSLR and still work on the mobile Lightroom ecosystem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, so maybe let's extrapolate on that a little bit. So what you're saying is I can take a photo from my phone, open the Lightroom mobile app on my desktop, edit within that, or take a photo that I shot on my DSLR and import it into my app on my phone. Those all
Absolutely. So
seamlessly.
all it's all seamless. So I'll tell you a little story about. I just had a shoot, I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and it was for a fashion line, and I shot the majority of it on my phone. And there's a reason for that, but it doesn't really matter. And then I also took a DSLR. And what happens while I'm shooting is the client is in the studio with me and looking at a laptop with this populating through Lightroom while I'm shooting. It's coming up. And then I would shoot some of the shots with the DSLR, just frankly, just for coverage, just to make sure I was covering my hiney, as I like to say. And then I would upload that to my laptop with a card reader. And so the whole job is live. And then she had a partner who was working on the job as well. And that partner could be anywhere, like another city, and actually accessing these files.
Whoa,
Yeah, I mean,
that
it's crackers. It's amazing. And
yeah.
I'll tell you, this whole series that you guys have been so generous in supporting me in, which is the mobile photography series, there's a bunch of classes. I mean, the technology is changing so much. There's super resolution now coming out. It's actually out in ACR, which is Adobe Camera Raw. And I use that to make my mobile photography images 4 times larger than they are. 4 times. It's
Whoa.
amazing. Now that I have
Yeah.
to do on the desktop version. I can't do it on the phone yet. That will be on the actual mobile device out in, I believe, June.
Oh wow, it's coming
It's around
very
the corner. 100% around the corner. And that's the beautiful thing about this ecosystem is it doesn't matter. I'm out in my garden shooting or in the studio shooting these lovely clothes. And then I come home and I'm uploading them. I'm not even uploading it. It already is uploaded. Just turn the computer on and launch the app Lightroom and bada bing, there's all my stuff.
And tell me a little bit just about the workflow, because there used to be a lot of transitioning from things to your cloud, or uploading your photos. So everything, once you sync all of your apps, is automatically it all works for you, or are there some
100% in Lightroom? It's all in the cloud. All in the cloud, all of it. The only workflow issue I have is when I have to upload from a DSLR camera that I physically need to plug in to upload. And I know some DSLR cameras, you can actually have it automatically do it through Bluetooth or something like that. But I don't have that capability. So it's so amazing, honey, because you can, I think people kind of laugh at me a little bit about this. Oh, you're out there shooting with your little phone. Aren't you cute? And I'm like, honey, I'm doing work with my little phone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, it's really remarkable. And Kate, I'm going to tell you, this feels very similar to me as that transition from digital. You're too young to know this, but I used to shoot traditional film, 4x5 camera, 8x10 camera. I would hand line my film. I hand develop all my film, color film, black and white film, and print. And digital was coming out, and everyone was like, that digital, that's never going to take over. And look at us.
I'll tell you, I was the editor-in-chief of my high school yearbook, and I was the main photographer, and I was literally in the transition from film to digital. And I would still go, my sophomore year of high school, would still go and get the film printed. And then by senior year, we were switching to everything being on a CD-ROM. And
right, yes.
And I remember we launched a online yearbook that year, and our by me insisting, and I remember the teacher that was head of the yearbook was like, why would we do this? Why would we create an online yearbook? And it's just so funny looking back, 15 years later, and it's like, whoa, the transition that's been made. And well, yes, I didn't experience film for very long, just how much the technology has changed. And now we have these phones, and we imagine the yearbooks kids are making now.
Right, incredible. And I'll tell you, even like Apple came out with Apple Pro RAW format just recently. So even the iPhone, forget Lightroom, is even having some transition. And there's a little pushback there's a little bit of pushback, I feel, right now, but I think it's normal. People are like, oh, it's not ready, but oh, it's coming so fast. And that's why I like these classes, because I'm treating this as professional. I'm really serious about my photography. Yeah. I'm really serious about my work, and I bring those traditional skills I have to this, like I call this a dark room in my hand now. You know what I mean? And it's exciting. Cool. And yeah, it is cool. And there's so much to it. Holy guacamole. It's the other reason I really appreciate you guys letting me do multiple classes, because there's so much to each little development module inside Lightroom. I mean, it's crackers.
Yeah.
And so to be able to have
that work we used to do outside is now just at the tip of our fingers, all just with a couple clicks, and we have to get deeper and deeper into all of the complexity that you can do within the app, which is why we're creating profiles and presets.
That's right. And what's cool about the profiles and presets is this is how I do kind of continuity for jobs, but also exploration. And I really talk about that in the course, like, okay, great. Profiles and presets from other people, you can get whole different looks and be like, oh, it didn't even occur to me to shift the reds into green, or, completely transition the blues into purples, or change the black density. And it's the beauty and the pain of this program. And what I mean by that is Lightroom is so complex in the best of ways. And I find, especially mobile, folks are just touching their phone and going, oh, I can just do this. And it's like, oh my God, no, honey, go under the hood. You can do this and this and this and this and this. And with profiles and presets, one of the things, can I talk a little bit about what the difference is between those?
Yeah, well, that was going to
Awesome.
be my next question because we're
Well,
going to come in and show a little bit about how to make a preset, but I want you to give us a little rundown on what the difference is.
so I will tell you, Kate, I am dyslexic as holy hell. And those words, profile and presets, are the P, and they're about the same length. And so I always get confused. So if folks out there, my fellow ADD dyslexic folks out there, are having trouble, don't worry. I understand. It's really confusing. So,
well, you're speaking to one. I also,
yes,
I
most
also.
creatives. Yeah, I would
Really,
tell
I
you
didn't know that.
most photographers are dyslexic. It's really fascinating. It's
Wow.
part of our visual space. It's what makes us our superpower in
Wow,
creation because of
I
our
didn't know
space.
that. I've
Yeah.
struggled with dyslexia since I was a kid, and had my reading tutors, and I've overcome it. But like, yeah, you just taught me something new that
Yeah.
makes
See?
a little bit
And
more.
it's our superpower. So,
Yeah.
amen. All right. So let me tell you, profiles, the way I like to think about how I separate them in my mind. Profiles are kind of like film looks. And I like to do baking analogies or cooking analogies. So it's kind of like the French 5 sauces. You've got your 5 main sauces. And then if you want to tweak them and do other stuff, that would be presets. So profiles, they provide looks to your images, and there's so many of them, and they're fantastic. And we go all through that in the class. And then they leave all those 12 or 13, excuse me, editing modules inside Lightroom. They don't touch those, which means you can, in presets, touch each one of those: geometry, light, color, clarity on top of it. So it's kind of like presets is when you add your special sauce, if you will.
Yeah. Okay. That's when you're adding all of your special secret ingredients.
Yes, yes. And yet you can save those out. So then you don't even necessarily have to use profiles. So I will tell you, the majority of folks I know who use Lightroom, they don't touch the profiles.
I didn't even know profiles existed until I watched all of your class content. I've always been in the world of presets. So
Yes,
that was news to me in itself.
And so I consider profiles an amazing starting point. They're a great place to start. They're generally not the end.
Yeah.
There's always a little secret sauce. I like salt. I like a lot of salt and pepper. So I'm going to add a little bit, if you will. And then you can shoot through profiles, shoot through presets. So that's a whole nother thing. It's a little complicated, but only a little complicated. You just need to kind of stick with it, which is why we have this course that's just on this.
Yes, and just so I can remind everyone, this is the live kickoff for Lisa's new class, Lightroom Mobile Shooting Photography, mobile photography and creating presets and profiles. My dear friend and co-host Kenna is in the comments leaving links to the class, and it will be starting right after this live kickoff. We have a couple of questions coming in. Everyone's so excited to see you, Lisa.
Yay!
Karen would like to know, what type of phone do you use? Is it always an iPhone? Does this work on Android? What is the specific model you use, and how can this class help regardless of the phone you have?
Awesome. Yeah, let's talk about this. This is a great question. First of all, I'm kind of known for saying it's the wizard, not the wand. And what that means is it doesn't matter. I don't care if you're on an iPhone 7. I don't care if you're on a Pixel, Google Plus, the Hamagami, whatever phone there is. It doesn't matter. I'm sorry, I'm so bad with this technology thing. I happen to be on an iPhone 12, which I think is amazing. It's amazing because of how it handles low light. So if you're an iPhone 10, rock on. An 11, rock on. But the 12 really jumped in terms of low light. However, it's not the phone, really. It doesn't matter. But you should know this. Technology rolls out at a different pace. So all of the editing functions are not necessarily available for the Android yet. They're going to be, but it rolls out differently. So for example, depth capture, which is amazing. It's a camera on the Lightroom app, makes a mask for you. It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy. But that has not yet been available for the Android yet, but soon. So yeah, I'm on a 12. I'm on a 12 Pro. Doesn't matter. But Android, Google's are great. Google Pixel phones are great. I just don't happen
Yeah.
to have one.
Yeah, their photos are beautiful on Google
Yeah.
Pixel as well. And just to be clear, Lightroom apps work for both. People shouldn't have any issues. Is this class, the functionality, the steps is all going to be similar?
100%. It's all
Okay.
similar. However, I just want to be really clear. In this class in particular, it's all the same. But in the boot camp, the mobile phone boot camp, the depth capture, for example, isn't yet available on an Android. And then the other thing you guys got to keep in mind, ecosystem is huge. What I mean by that is you're working on this, you're working on an iPad, you can work on your desktop. So let's say I'm working and I'm editing on this thing and I can't really see what I'm doing. Rock and roll, put it on your computer. It's the same program, it's the same profiles, it's the same presets, and you can see it huge versus small.
Yes. All right. Well, I think we're going to roll a little lesson from your new class, and we're going to jump in and see how you create a preset in like, what, 3.5 minutes, which is pretty darn cool.
Yeah, you do it
All
pretty
right.
fast.
Let's roll this lesson, Adam.
So let's start with making your own presets and why you might want to do that. So creating presets, what do you use them for? Well, it saves time on multiple edits. So let's say you take a lot of shots in a similar scenario and you know you want the same edit. Saves a ton of time if you make a preset. You also don't have to relearn an edit. What do I mean by that? Let's say you spent a lot of time trying to figure out how you want to get a particular look. If you save a preset, you can always come right back to it, lickety split. And then, frankly, it just speeds up your workflow, makes everything go much faster, and time is money, or time is just precious. So that's always good. And then lastly, I would say variety. It allows you to have a variety of different looks quite quickly. And that's never a bad thing. So let's take a look at this. So when you are creating your own presets, it's really paramount that you understand these are the modules you are allowed to save. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. I'm going to use Millie as a tool. I love Millie. I shoot her all the time and almost always in the same environment. So a preset for Millie is always a good idea. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a little demo on how I make a preset for Millie. And then once again, paramount, you got to know these are the developing modules that you have a choice from, that you can save. And you either check the box or don't check the box. It's that simple. So let's take a look at this Millie demonstration. So with Millie, I'm going to pick a picture down here on the bottom right. And I almost always click auto to start, kind of a habit of mine. I then tend to go to color to make her black and white. And or with this one, I think I'm going to color grade her. So I'm going to go to color grade, add some color to the shadows, and then add some more to the highlights, a different color, and then shift the midtones to another tone. So it's 3 tones all in one. And then I'm going to go to effects and add some clarity and probably some texture. And then I'm always add a vignette because I like that camera vignette look. And you can adjust those, quite fun. And then what I might do, you know, got to evaluate your picture, is I might turn the optics on, like enable lens correction and remove chromatic aberration, tough word. I almost never do geometry. So you click the upper right button here to find create preset. And once again, you select the options you want turned on. Geometry, I almost always leave blank because the angles of the images change. Please name your presets and name them in such a way that makes sense to you. I'm crazy about naming things. And now I have Millie's preset number 5. And if I go over to another image in the same series, I can click on it, slide on over to my presets, slide on over, and then pick my Millie number 5. And what you'll see here is I have a bunch of Millie presets, pardon me, because I shoot her in different lighting scenarios and each one is different. But this way I know when I'm shooting Millie, these are my shots. And it just speeds up the workflow and provides for different opportunities. Like I can click those other Millie presets and go, oh yeah, I really want that one. Presets are easy, they're fun, they're useful. And yeah, what else can I tell you? It's a good deal. Please don't forget to name your presets. It's really, really important. And name them something that makes sense, because you come to them a year later and you just don't know what you have chosen. Have fun with presets. They're really handy.
All right. So there you have it. We just showed you how to create a preset in 3 minutes or so. Lisa, so tell me, you are using one of your favorite new models
Yeah.
in this shot, and tell me a little bit about just how quickly this process is and how seamless it is. You just showed
Yeah.
how to do it. Give us a little bit more on making presets
Yeah,
quickly
so
on the
let me talk a little bit about why I do presets. So there's using presets, and then there's making presets. So I make presets for situations like series situations, when I want something to have a continuous look and a vibe, like editorial, or when I was talking about that clothing line, I want everything to have the same vibe and look to it. And presets are a great way of doing that, because you can apply them to multiple images and batch process them even. But you know what? There's something else I want to talk about presets for a second, and that's this whole discovery thing. And what I mean by that is, in the class, at the end of the course, there's this whole section on discovering other people's presets and using other people's presets. And for me, it turned into this whole magical thing where I would click on someone's preset, try it, and go, "Oh my God, it never even occurred to me to do this. What a great idea." And then I turn it into my own. So it's not I'm trying to be derivative and use other people's work. It's about in, inviting my brain to look at something differently. And presets are amazing for that. Amazing. And I want to say something, it might seem counterintuitive. The other thing I really want to encourage people to do is not be at, how do I want to say this? Like, feel like, oh, I have to buy the best presets. Where do I get these presets? I'm in a bunch of Lightroom user groups, and I hear people saying, "Oh my God, where are the best presets for newborns?" And my thought is, well, wait a second. Figure out how to make your own presets. What you do not need to rely on somebody else's. Plus, it's a little challenging because other people's presets are based on how they took their photos, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
So while I'm a big proponent of presets and profiles, I want our folks out there to know how to make their own, so they're not reliant on someone else or feel like they have to buy one more thing. You don't need
Yeah.
to. You do
You
not.
know, what I think about, as most of you guys know, I'm the head of social media at Creative Live. So I spend a lot of the time in Instagram, and it's like having those Instagram filters or those selfie filters, but actually being able to edit them and make, that's, if you think about presets, they're very much the same concept as filters on Instagram, but they are, you can tweak them and turn them in, and you can take a preset that you bought, edit it a little bit more, and then create your own preset that is actually catered to your photos. And
Right,
that's
that fits for your shooting style. Absolutely. And in fact, Kate, there's a whole set of profiles that look very what I'd call Instagrammy, which is
yeah,
awesome to get you started, but it's so infinitely more expandable. You can do so much. Like, I can isolate certain areas and bring out highlights, or darken down areas, or put a vignette. And with the Instagram filters, it's kind of one and done. You
yeah.
can change the intensity of it a bit, but you can't mask out areas. And you can fully mask out in Lightroom.
Yeah, and that's the coolest thing, and what I think has been helpful about Instagram is it's opened uh, this world of photography to people,
Yeah.
everyone, and it's gotten people so used to just clicking a filter, and that's easy, but then it gets you exploring a little bit more and realize
100%.
all of the depth of photography and how much you can really do. On your own. And I think that's the beauty of Instagram, is just kind of getting people's feet wet in
And sharing. Yeah.
yeah,
Kate, I'll tell
exactly.
you, just the other day, I started an exercise that I'm going to continue. I will look at people's photography that really inspired me. And there's a guy named Peter Stark, who I used to work with in the ad agency. And he posted this really cool image where all the highlights, all the whites were brown, all of them. It was basically a duotone. And I
Okay.
was looking at that and I'm like, that's awesome. How would I do that in Lightroom? And I figured out how to do it in Lightroom.
Yeah, that's
And
see
I
that
was like, oh, awesome. Now I can when I want a look like this, I can now do it because I used it as a kind of a roadmap and a
Yeah.
exercise.
Yeah. See, that's so cool. And that kind of, as we're talking about, that brings me to your upcoming, and you have another new class coming out, which is turning day photos into night photos, which kind of follows along that concept of turning highlights into lowlights, I guess.
Yes. Yeah. I'm really into day for night photography, but I don't like going out at night.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't.
So
I'm in the mountains a lot. I get a little creeped out. I mean, it's pretty, but I'm by myself and I'm thinking, So that's what that started. And, Day for Night was really popular in the 70s in TV production. Also, if I tell you the truth, this device doesn't capture low light well. It's getting better.
Yeah.
But it's not there yet. So, what's the solution? Well, the solution is to shoot in a higher light level and then turn it into a low light situation. And then I have all that detail.
Yes. So that is your next class coming up. And that is going to be premiering April 7th, if I remember correctly. So
I think you're right. The black and white one I think I have a black and white class coming out before that. Yes, I do. I just don't have the date on the top of my head. It's in the coming attractions.
Real quick, just so we let everyone know, mark your calendars. We have,
and the black and white, I want to tell you, it's amazing how you do black and white on your mobile device. It's not just, desaturate an image.
Yeah.
There's all these things you can do with profiles, presets, and then selective editing, and you can get film grain and make it look like Tri-X film if you want. Oh, it's amazing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's so cool. So yes, we have actually, black and white is April 7th. And that one is coming out first. You are right. And then we'll have the day to night. So lots of Lisa Carney coming up. So make sure you're marking your calendars and you will all get to see me and Lisa a few more times. Day and night is coming out on April 28th. So make sure you guys are all RSVP to those 2 new classes. And Lisa, thank you so much for jumping on this live kickoff. Again, leave us a couple questions if you have any questions coming in, but reminder to everyone watching this live kickoff, if you're watching on social media, my co-host Kenna is leaving a link to Lisa's class in the comments, and right at 9:30 the class will kick off and you can start learning how to create your own presets so you can be out taking beautiful photos like Lisa and creating your own unique style. Who doesn't want to do that?
Right. Get your learn on. Yes.
Yeah. All right, Lisa. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And again, as always, it's fun to see you, and we will see you in a couple weeks. Me and you will be back again to talk a little bit about making black and white images.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll see you in the class.
Pursuing creativity is arguably the most practical thing that you can do.
We humans are adaptation champions. That's what makes us human, our ability to imagine.
The hard part is to look inside and say, what are my invisible beliefs that I have about money? I wanted to figure out how it actually worked.
And you are really here because you became passionate about an idea.
What does it take to capture great photographs of birds? You have to be grounded in your cameras. You need to understand the technology.
Just like any band shoot, we're looking to capture great shots of the band themselves playing on stage. So the drummer shot, lead singer, guitars.
How do you even prepare to shoot with your phone? And then we're actually going to go into the edit.
Once you hit rock bottom, there's no place to go but up. You learn what's real. You learn what's needed.
In astrophotography, there is a great deal more planning involved because you are literally shooting in the dark.
We can't change others, but we can change our perspective.
Wow, that's a good way to start the day.
I had tears in my eyes.
If you're feeling isolated and looking for creative connection, try tuning into creativelive.com/TV. That's where we've got a 24/7 live stream from the kitchen counters.
I can do that backlit shot that I really like to do.
From the studios and living rooms of many of the world's top creators, where we're doing musical performances, Q&As, cooking shows, virtual book tour events, drawing, spoken word poetry, and more.
Life passed me by waiting for an invitation when the world is greater than my nation or my occupation. Be someone you've never been. You feel all that adrenaline, it's medicine.
It actually helps me feel like my days are more purposeful.
I hope that out of this deep pain will come some collective growth.
Dive into Creative Live TV today.